On January 17th, 1942, Odessa Grady Clay and Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr. welcomed a child that will one day become one of the most influential people this world has ever known. What exactly more can be said about Muhammad Ali that isn't already known by now? Well, honestly, not much. But I would like to give my opinion on why Muhammad Ali was not only one of my favorite fighters, but also one of the greatest people this world has ever known. Muhammad Ali in his prime was quite a sight to behold, to say the least. His personality oozed confidence. He knew he was the best at that time, and was able to prove it as well. You didn't even have to be a fighter to be mesmerized by how he moved around the ring. He was an extremely agile and quick fighter for his size. The way he danced around his opponents and would just study their movements, and his opponents themselves almost mesmerized by how Ali moved, or even floated around the ring. He would shuffle his feet quickly and attack with a fury of combinations. He'd also lean so far back opponents would hardly ever be able to touch him. The combinations of speed, intelligence, power, length, and height were just too much for a lot of his opponents. And his abrasive personality and iconic talk game was becoming too much for watchers of boxing who didn't enjoy Ali's taunting nor his abrasiveness. Then the Vietnam War occurred, and the draft soon followed, and thus Ali would make one of the most infamous decisions that he's ever made in his career. It was also a decision that would transcend his status from just a boxer to an international icon. His stance against the war and the draft would be the embodiment of a lot of people's feelings at that time around the world. And his stance would also cause a lot of negative reactions to him. Even still, in the face of losing everything, he stood by his refusal to participate in the war, and unfortunately, ended up in prison for his refusal to be drafted. Not only that, but he was also stripped of all his belts and titles, as well as being barred from boxing in any state for 3.5 years. After his imprisonment for his refusal to be drafted, Muhammad Ali returned to boxing. However, his decline in his athleticism and reflexes were glaring. He wasn't as agile and quick, an unfortunate side effect of being out of professional boxing for so long. Even still, he won many fights on his comeback to boxing, even challenged the then champion Joe Frazier to a match that would be known as the fight of the century. He would win many more fights as he settled back into boxing again. Notable wins over Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Floyd Patterson, and many more. But even after many great victories, his decline began to show itself glaringly in his matches towards the end of his career. But even with such obstacles in front of him, he adapted. He invented the rope-a-dope technique, in which he would use the ropes to evade the punches of his opponent, to try to keep himself in fights. But see, this is what makes Ali so great to me, in my opinion. He was a fighter, through and through. I'll even go as far as to say he was the very embodiment of the word. He fought anything he believed was worth fighting for. He was someone who put all of his heart into his beliefs and fighting for those beliefs. And not just in terms of boxing, but also being a fighter against what he feels is wrong. A fighter against time itself when it tried to limit him. These qualities of Ali are what made Ali so lovable and iconic. His name forever is still rippling through history. What he was willing to do for what he believed in should always be a lesson to everybody. At the end of the day, you really have to ask yourself at some point, what exactly are you fighting for? What do you believe in? Are you willing to take the risks associated with your beliefs? Do you even believe in yourself? These are questions Ali answered and still persevered on to become one of the greatest men this world has ever known and had to offer. I remember having a small book during my childhood that claimed that Ollie accidentally punched out his mom's tooth as a child. I'm not sure how true that story is, but it is just to note that, hey, even as a child, he always knew he was a fighter. That is why Ali is not only one of my favorite fighters of all time, but also one of the most influential this world has had to offer. Hey, thanks for stopping by and watching the video. Honestly, hope you enjoyed it. And also, I would like to note that I'll be continuing this type of videos as a series, so be on the lookout for more videos like this. Also, please don't be afraid to comment on what you like about the video or what you didn't like, so I can continue this series in a more enjoyable way for you as a viewer. Thank you once again. I hope the days are kind to all of you as this year ends. Oh, and drop a like or dislike, and subscribe for more content and hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.